about the European Union in 2020 or 2050, especially due to the problems that we're now facing with Greece and all the other countries with financial problems. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we could live as a student and work as a student only studying. That is a possibility, and more it is needed, because it is more difficult today than in our period as students, I am told. So I believe that. But to be active in a student movement, or in a youth movement, or in other organizations of the civil society, makes an individual to a person. I mean by this, I am convinced that the development of each human being needs to be engaged in the society, to accept responsibility in society, and to have also the benefit of working with friends and colleagues, and this is for the spiritual, intellectual, and also political development of human beings extremely important. And what we call engagement, involvement, not a person apart, not an individual apart, is so important, I think, in the development and the formation of a person. And that is the main benefit, to be active, to be a good student, but also to accept responsibility and to work together. Europe 2020. We have to become a political union, a real political union. That means that we will have at a certain moment the president of the European Union. There are a lot of proposals. The German finance minister, Wolfgang Schäuble, proposed a direct election of the president of the European Commission, and he would also be the president of the European Council. We can no longer live with two presidents. We need one president. The crucial decision has to be made by the heads of state and the heads of government. Will they accept the direct election, or even the election by the European Parliament, of the President of the European Union, giving him more power and more competences? But in any case, for me it is clear we have to go to that. We have to accept also, in the election of the European Parliament, pan-European list. Not all of them, but for instance 50 or 100 elected, not only in a national, in a member state, but also on a larger scale, to identify better the general European ambitions of these members of the European Parliament. There is strong opposition against this, but I think it is a necessity also for the future. But we have, these are elements of a political union. And some weeks ago, Angela Merkel made a fantastic interview in 6 prominent European newspapers, telling, my goal is to come to a political union. We need different phases, certainly, but that is the only solution. And if you can reread or read this interview, it was a remarkable interview she gave. And it is an anchor also for us and a positive signal. Because we thought, together with this perspective, we have to solve extremely crucial questions today. We created a very positive realization the single market. We completed it with the economic and monetary union and the creation of the euro. And the conditions to maintain that system of the euro with the Stability Pact was not always respected and was undermined. We have all the consequences. The whole question is, will we be able to find a solution? A lot of countries have to accept strong measures for fiscal discipline, to regain competitiveness, to create a policy of innovation, and for the whole European Union, the necessity to create economic growth and to create jobs, jobs, jobs. And I always remember, I mentioned also in my speech, I entered the European Council as Prime Minister of my country during the period of Eurosclerosis. Huge unemployment, huge inflation of prices due to the oil shocks. And during 7 years or more, the different governments of the member states took individual measures. But after 6 or 7 years, there was a common initiative. The creation of the single market in 1985. And the formulation of the objective, and name was objective, Objective 92. Creating hope, perspective for the people. And we need this. We need sustainable growth. You can create false growth by printing money. But sustainable growth needs, then you need fiscal discipline, consolidation. You need competitiveness and innovation. And you need also, and the European Union has the means, to put together all these means to create economic growth and to create jobs. These conditions have to be realized. And the danger, especially in Greece, is in the next elections of the 17th of June, that the majority of the people is rejecting the measures they have to take and to accept. And the government agreed to that, the Greek government. And in that case, we will have a major crisis in Greece. An extreme left government will never accept these measures. And then the solidarity of the European Union with Greece will disappear. And we could have also a crisis in the Eurozone. So the perspective is very clear. This political union in 2020, met the president with another composed but renewed European Parliament, and so on and so on. But we need to solve these economic and financial problems. And we are living, we have to be aware, in a very dangerous situation with countries as Greece. And we really hope there are still a large majority in public opinion in Greece in favor of the European Union, but they have to express it in a vote and to accept also the measures and the agreements the government made and to implement it, to accept this for a real future. If they have to leave the European Union, Greece will become a developing country. Will become a developing country. And that is a real, that's an unbelievable situation if they cannot fulfill the agreements and the measures they have to implement.
Good evening, Your Excellency. My name is Mihai Nakshu, proud member of PDL still. My question for you would be, do you consider necessary for European leaders nowadays to go on pilgrimage, as you did in Africa, at least in their own countries, as a part maybe of their political education. Thank you very much.
In fact, they need to be on pilgrimage to their people. And it was also one of the points in my speech to defend it and to convince people. What is the way for the future? What are the risks for the future? Living in a globalized world, with problems also in the United States of America, in other countries. And how can we, and perhaps together also, European Union together with United States of America, the Western world, create, maintain the perspective for a good future. And so to convince people, you have to convince people. And the language of the European institutions, especially also the Commission, for instance, and also the meeting of the ministers are very technocratic. Who can understand all these technical, very technical statements? We have, as I said, to give a message, a whole perspective. We need a human face also for the European Union. And that has to be done on the field, on the ground. And perhaps I'm telling to my members of my staff, if we had in Europe 5,000 people, militants, activists, going to the people and to explain, then we could solve a lot of the problems we have now between public opinion and the people active in European politics. That would really be an enormous chance. But also the leaders of the governments have these tasks. And without their engagement, as I said, Europe is not a scapegoat. Europe is the solution, it's not the problem. And to explain this. And in that sense, everybody active in European politics has this same task in his country, in his region, and in his capacity to explain the major goals and the major problems of Europe and the way to solve them. Thank you very much.
Vă mulțumesc, domnule președinte. Pentru autografe, la intrarea în această sau la ieșirea din această sală este o masă unde sunt cărțile și cine dorește autograf, domnul președinte va acorda aceste autografe. Vă mulțumim!
Poate răspuns tu. Și că vin din partea asta, e mulțumesc.
Uite, acum am ieșit, mă rog, am terminat aici. Ce faci tu? Așa. Eu sunt la Păi tu nu vii din sensul tribunalului, tu vii din sensul ăsta. Păi da. Deci vii exact pe fața vis-a-vis de tribunal. Exact în fața bibliotecii, ți ies în față și până fa stânga la tribunal. Fa stânga ca să te duci pe...
Mă bucur, un fapt tot. Da. Hai cum a sunat, am apărut și acum s-a dat la fund. Să le dai cuiva și...
Poate vorbim o dată la telefon.
Păi, mai stai pe aici, că eu...
Asta, puțin, strângă.
Uite, câte de astea merg pe sistemul ăsta? Câte vrei, da? Și cum le e o sursă de aia și câte astea vrei la sistemul ăsta? O sursă numai 40. Pe urmă se... 40, bă, mine mă interesa la 6, 7 până în 10. Le dau cuiva cum așteaptă parcare și după aia vin. Mă interesa cam cât costă, cum le-ați luat, de unde? Vă dau număr de... Vă dau eventual un mail în trimite și vă răspund că nu am... N-am știu dacă... Am scump pe care sau cam scump pe care n-ai. Undeva la... 300 de euro. Și sursa aia ai vreo și 200 de euro. Dar să ne dea nouă la bibliotecă. Beton. Sunt, da. Ceva problemă. Dacă foc să duc... Bine, drum bun. Nu, mă întorc, că nu mă așteaptă cineva. Aveți o carte de vizită, ceva, vă dau un mail înapoi.
Da, din fața bibliotecii.
lumina asta mare?
Nici chiar nu mă apuc, că vreau să mă mai duc pe diverse...
Închide sala? Că vreau să... Sau la postul la studentă, mai rost.
Mai avem de strâns, mai cred.
Mai durează, da? Eu sunt afară și de ce? Asta și de aici. Da? Da?
E normal să ducă rămână cu balanța de la domnul Martens?
a spus.